Okay, our first lesson today is about graphing linear functions, right? We talked about function rules yesterday. Those were the equations that we used. We put input into the equation and we got some output and we made some ordered pairs. We're going to talk about graphing that information, okay? So look on the first page of today's lesson. I'm not sure what page number this is, but look on the first page of the lesson. And you see the big table kind of at the top above example 1. Tells you that we have X. Everything listed under X is an input value, right? So there's -1, 0, 3, and 4. Then we have Y equals X minus 2. X minus 2 is our function rule. We put each input value into X's place and see what it gives us. And it gives us the output, which is the Y. And you can see the numbers in red there are the output values, -3, -2, 1, and 2. And then we made an ordered pair out of each input with its corresponding output. And then we graphed those ordered pairs onto the graph. Okay, you see all those steps that we did? We did all of that yesterday except the graphing. So let's use a table and take a function rule and take some input values and find the output and make some ordered pairs. Okay, so example number 1. Now remember, our ordered pairs are written like this. X is our input. Y is our output. Okay? So I'm going to make my chart to look like this. I'm going to do an input column. And example 1 tells us to use -1/2, 0, +1/2, and +3/2 as our input. And then over here, I'm going to put my output column. And in the middle, I'm going to write the function rule. So the function rule is Y equals -4X. So that means on all of these rows, I need to put -4 parentheses, right? Because in the parentheses is where I'm going to put the input value. So if I put -1/2 in this set of parentheses, it's going to give me an output of 2. If I put 0 in this parentheses, it's going to give me an output of 0. If I put +1/2 in this parentheses, it's going to give me an output of -2. And if I put 3/2 in this parentheses, it's going to give me an output of -6. So now let's make ordered pairs with that. -1/2, 2, 0, 0. 1/2, -2, and then 3/2, -6. So we've made our ordered pairs, and now they want us to graph and label each point. Okay? We can't really do this very well on my graphs because I don't have the whole thing, and these are so tightly rolled. I don't know if I can get one to unroll and stick or not. We shall see. Okay, I think that'll stick. Let me see how visible that is. Okay. Okay, so still I only have the top 2 quadrants. I need a bigger marker board, don't I? Let's graph what we can. We can graph -1/2, +2. -1/2 is going to be halfway between 0 and -1, right? And then we're going to go up to +2 and make a dot. 0, 0, we can graph that. That's going to be right here at the origin. +1/2 and -2, that's going to be +1/2, but we would need to go down 2 places. And then this is +1/2, -6. So we would go to 1 and then halfway to 2 and go down to -6. And we would graph that, okay? So that's example 1. Skill check A gives you the opportunity to practice taking input values and a function rule and coming up with output values and then writing everything as ordered pairs, okay? So sometimes the instructions might just say graph a function like they do for example 2. Graph a function, and it gives us a function to graph. So how shall we make this work? So we're going to, let's try moving this graph up, seeing if it will lay flat. And see if I can get a couple more pieces on here. I guess I need to lay these out overnight with heavy books on them or something and kind of flatten them out so they would stick a little bit better. Plus I need a much bigger marker board. I think if I am the primary math teacher again next year in this same classroom, I'm gonna have to get a much bigger board. Okay, let's see if we can make this work. So the function that they give us, I'm going to have to just write on the graph and then erase it for it to be visible on the video, okay? The function they give us in example 2 is y equals x plus 3. So let's make an input column and our function rule here in the middle and an output column, okay? Now the difference is they didn't tell us what input values to use. We get to choose. So you can pick anything you want to be the input values. What do y'all want to use? Give me some numbers. They use -2, 0, and +2, but we don't have to use that. They don't tell us that we have to. So let's try -3, 0, and +3, okay? And see how that works. So what happens if I put -3 in x's place and then say -3 plus 3? What's my output going to be?
0.
0. What happens if I put 0 in x's place?
0.
No, I'll have 0 plus 3. Let me move my... I'll have 0 plus 3, so I'll have 3. What happens if I put 3 in x's place? I'll get 6. So what are my ordered pairs going to be? -3, 0, right, from the first row, 0, 3 from the second row, and 3, 6 from the third row. Now, our instructions, though, just said graph the function. But we can't graph y equals x plus 3 without having some ordered pairs. So what we just did was make ordered pairs using input, function rule, and output. We made ordered pairs. Now that we have ordered pairs, we can graph these. So -3, 0. We're going to go -1, -2, -3, 0. 0 positive 3. 0 on the x, 1, 2, positive 3 on the y. And then 3 and 6. 1, 2, positive 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we can connect those. Where is my yardstick? My long metal yardstick. Huh? Where? Okay, can you get it for me, please, Keenan? We'll use this in the meantime. Notice that when I connect these, they make a straight line, right? When we connect those dots, they make a straight line. That's because we have graphed a linear function. It graphs a straight line.